Hello everyone. So today didn't go according to plan. I was going to go to, it's Canada Day here in Canada, and I was going to go to the park and show you our Canada Day celebrations and stuff, and it's downpouring today. It's huge amounts of rain. So I decided instead I would stay home and we'll make cinnamon buns together. Okay, I just pulled out some of the ingredients that we're going to need to start with here. Put my dough hook on here. Yeah, we'll just use the dough hook. So like I said, we're making cinnamon buns. Okay, so I heated my milk. This is 1 cup of milk. I heated it up. You don't want to have it hotter than 100 degrees, otherwise it'll kill the yeast. So make sure that it's not too hot. And then we need 2 1/4 teaspoons or 1 package of yeast. I think I have a quarter here. I love these measuring spoons. I got them on Amazon. They're really long and they can fit inside spice bottles. They're really cool. I have them linked in my description box if you want to look at them. I don't get anything for that, just purely to give something that I like to. Show you where I got it. Okay, I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. Now we're going to put the sugar and the salt in with this. I'll do that right now before we proof it. I just want to mix it up just a little bit. Okay, it says 1/2 cup of sugar. This is 1/2 cup. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Is that 1 teaspoon? It is, okay. 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to mix all that together and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes or until the yeast starts making bubbles. I'm just mixing some of it off the sides here. Okay, so I'll let that sit for 5 minutes and then I will be back once that's done. Okay, so it's been about 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm going to put the eggs in. It says 2 eggs. I'm just going to put it right into the mixture here. Oh, just dropped that one right on the counter. Fell right out of the shell. Let me just wash my hands here. Clean up my egg white everywhere. Okay. Put it aside. And it says about 6 tablespoons of butter. So I've got my butter here. It's softened. You want softened butter, it says. I haven't made cinnamon buns in probably a few years. So this is good. My children are actually excited. They get cinnamon buns for the first time in a very long time. I'm also going to show you a little trick my grandmother showed me when I was younger about making cinnamon buns. I'll show you when the time comes. A little bit easier to explain. Okay, so it also calls for 4 cups of flour. So I'm just going to put that right in. Okay, I'll do 3 and then we'll mix and probably add the last one. I always do that. I like to add the last one last just in case I have to adjust it a little bit according to texture. I'm just going to get a spatula. Okay, I'm going to give you a little closer look here. So I'm just going to scrape down the edges here. You see where the flour isn't mixing all the way? We want it to mix in nicely. Make sure you get on the bottom a little bit too. And get the 4th cup ready here because I'm going to need it here. It's already forming a ball, which is really good. So now let's mix the last cup of flour into it. This recipe is delicious. It does take a little bit of time to make, but it's worth it. I'm just waiting for it to form a ball here. See if it'll do it on its own here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's give it one more mix. Okay, it says to mix it like this for 10 to 12 minutes. I think it's to release the gluten. Yeah, it says in the recipe I just looked, it says the kneading process is very important. I think it gives it the nice flaky, fluffy texture to the cinnamon buns. So I'm going to let this go for about 10 minutes, and when I come back, I'll let you know the next step. Actually, now that I think about it, the next step is actually letting it rest and raise for an hour. So when I'm at the stage of it raising, I'll give you a little update and show you. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. The dough looks so nice and soft and pliable. I'm just going to give you a little look here. Look. I can understand why the kneading was important. So let's stick some oil in the bowl. Okay, so I'm just going to pour a little bit of olive oil in. You can use whatever you like. Trying to do this with one hand. Wash the counter here. This is on here so tight because my mixer was actually going across the counter. It was kneading it so hard. There we go. Okay, so sometimes when I don't want to put my hand in there and get it all gross, full of oil, I will use a piece of saran wrap and just put my hand in it. I do this a lot, especially if I've got multiple things on the go and I don't want my hands to be so filthy. So I'm just greasing the bowl so the dough doesn't stick to it. like that, and then you just throw it out. This dough is nice. This is gonna be good. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then I have my oven preheated so it's nice and hot. I like to do that to raise dough. It works really well. So I'm gonna put this on the stove and cover it, and we need to let this raise for an hour. So I'll be back in an hour once this is raised. Okay, so let's look. It looks like it's about double. Not quite too much more than double, but okay, let's roll this out. Okay, let's move this. Take it out here. It's nice and pliable. I'm going to try and do this with my hands. We'll see how far I get. It's how I've always made cinnamon buns, but you know, there's different ways for different people. The dough has enough butter in it that it's letting me move it nicely. Okay, let's see how far they want me to roll this out. It doesn't say. I didn't think so, but you never know. People sometimes are very specific in their recipes. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so need some butter. It says in the recipe 1 stick, so I'm just going to use some butter that I have softened here. It's really soft actually. Let's go about that. Looks like a lot of butter, but use my hands. This is meant for the filling to stick to. My cat. He wants outside, but it's pouring rain, so trying to keep him in the house so he doesn't get sick. Okay, I'm just going to wash my hands and then we'll do the rest of the filling here. Okay, my hands are clean. Okay, so let's get a little bowl. Mix the filling in. It says about a cup of brown sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measure. A little bit more. Okay. And then about 3 tablespoons. I think I'm going to put a lot more than 3 tablespoons in, but of cinnamon. 1, 2, 3. Guesstimation. A little bit more. I want it to be quite flavorful. That is one thing I notice about some recipes is they're very lenient on the seasonings. And if I'm going to go through the trouble to make it, I'd like it to taste really good. So, okay, so now we just mix it, or spread it, pardon me, onto the butter. I'm leaving room on the edge here for cutting and to seal the dough together. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling it. I think I'm going to start, well, I wanted to start from this side, but it's probably best if I start from this side because of how small it is. So let's try and get some of the sugar up into the middle here so it's not all dough. And you want to try and do this fairly tight. You don't want the end product being too loose when you're cutting it. I'm just spreading it on the edges a little bit more here. And if it's a little too loose, I'm just pushing it back and pushing it forward again. So the part of my grandma's little secret, I'm sure it's not just my grandmother's, I'm sure lots of people know this secret, is at the end here, when we cut these and before we put them into the pan, it depends on what kind of cinnamon buns you like. So my grandmother likes really sticky, gooey kind of cinnamon bun. And she would always do this little trick. I never knew until I was older. She showed me how to do it. And basically she puts water and some brown sugar and a little bit of cinnamon in the bottom of the pan. And it makes like a sticky syrup almost. So if you like gooey, sticky cinnamon buns on the bottom, that's how you get it. Apparently you put water, brown sugar, and cinnamon in the bottom, and it makes a gooey mixture in the bottom as it's cooking. Okay, let's prepare the pan. These are going to go in. I figured I would make it in my baking dish here. I'm going to spray this. I'm going to do this over the sink. Okay, here's my sprayed pan. Okay, I'm going to get some water. So I'm not sure exactly how much water to put in, but we're gonna guesstimate here. Try to do it without wrecking the bottom of my oiled thing here. So like that. It depends on how much syrup you want. So we'll do about that. And then you stick some brown sugar in the bottom. A little bit more than that. Not just that, but she also said that when you're cutting them, the parts that actually leak out of this also helps create the syrup on the bottom. Need my spoon here. A little bit more. I don't want it to be too thin and not create the syrup that we want. Okay, I'm just going to sprinkle some cinnamon in there. Okay, now we can cut them up. Get a bread knife here. That's what it looks like in the middle. It looks like I got the dough nice and evenly, even thickness. That's good. Let's put this one at the end here. Actually, see, looks really nice. I'm going to put a little bit of space in between so it gives it room to raise. I always thought it was weird putting water into the bottom, but it does work. Hopefully I didn't stick too much in. Okay, how many did that make? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. The recipe did say 10, or I mean 12. It said 12, so I think we're doing good. Now it says to raise for another 30 to 40 minutes. So we'll let that raise, and while we're waiting for that, we'll make the cream cheese frosting that goes on top. So for the cream cheese icing, I have some leftover cream cheese here that I needed to use. So I'm going to take that out of the package. I like to freeze my cream cheese because I don't use it very often, so unless it's baking or pasta or something like that. What else? There is no butter in this, which is a little surprising to me, just a little bit. So there's a pinch of salt. I think that's to balance out the icing sugar. Half a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to mix that up, and then we're going to add the icing sugar. Got my electric mixer going here. My cream cheese is cold, so we'll see how this goes. Going everywhere. Okay, looks like that. At least it's mixed up. Okay, and then it says a cup of icing sugar. So this is a half cup, so we need 2 of these. With cream cheese frosting, you want to follow the recipe pretty close. If this is too thick, I'm going to add a little bit more vanilla. Normally I add a lot more vanilla, but with cream cheese it can tend to make the icing too runny, so you want to wait till the end. Okay, mix that in. Making a huge mess. I should have put an apron on. Okay, so I can tell already that this is way too dry. So I'm going to add a little bit more vanilla. You don't want to add too much at once. Let's see if that helps. Let's get a cloth here because it's everywhere. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because I'm probably going to need it again. Okay. I would recommend starting with room temperature ingredients, not cold. I had completely forgotten to take it out of the fridge. Okay, it's still too thick, see? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of cream to it. Let's see here. Get it out of my fridge. And add a little bit of heavy cream. We'll do it a little bit at a time here, see if we need more. Oh, that's better. See it already. That's what we want, is this. I'll give you a close look here. So I'm going to mix this until all the lumps are out, until it's fluffy. Sometimes baking is a little bit of troubleshooting. Cooking in general, actually. What it looks like. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to give it a little taste test here, make sure it's not too sweet. Looks a little thin, but it's on cinnamon buns, so I think that's okay. Ooh, that's yummy. I think that's perfect. So now we'll finish waiting for the cinnamon buns to raise, and then we will bake them. Okay, let's check them. Oh, they look like they've doubled in size. They've closed a lot of the gaps. I think they're ready to bake. I did take out a little bit of the liquid. The liquid was coming quite far up, so I probably drained probably half the liquid. Okay, so let's bake these. We're going to bake them at 350 for 20 to 30 minutes. I just wanted to show you guys how they've expanded in the oven. This is after 5 minutes of being in the oven, so I think we're good. Okay, these have had lots and lots of time to cool. This is them out of the oven. They're nice and soft on top, but still nice and crunchy. Okay, let's put some icing on top. This is our icing we made. I would normally put this in a piping bag, but this is just going to be for me, my kids. So I'm just going to do like dollops on each one, like that. I did let these cool a bit before I put the icing on them. Just a dollop on each one is good. If I have leftovers, I'll add a little bit more to each one, but you don't want too much icing. Unless you like it, of course. Unless you like it with lots and lots of icing. I'm probably going to end up adding a little bit to a few more of these. There's a little bit extra here. My son was already asking me if the cinnamon buns were ready to eat yet. I'm like, not yet. Just about. Okay, I think that's good. I'll show you the finished product there. Now let's take one out and see if it's nice and gooey underneath. Let me get a saucer. Okay, let me just cut one out here. They're nice and soft, I can feel that. There we go. See the gooiness on the bottom? There's also lots of it in the pan here still too. I probably could have left the water in and they would have been even more gooey. Let's taste it. This is a new cinnamon bun recipe that I tried. It's not the one I usually make. Oh, this is nice and flaky. The flavor is really good. That's delicious. Highly recommend making them. It's really good. I think my kids are going to love these. Well, that was fun. Tried a new recipe and it turned out great. A rainy day that I didn't get to celebrate Canada Day because it was pouring rain. We made the best of it and made some delicious cinnamon buns together. So this is where I'm going to end the video. I hope to see you next time. Bye.